Emma stared at her laptop screen, trying to focus on her online work assignment while the television blared from the living room. The familiar sound of Blue Bloods mixed with her 89-year-old grandmother's loud commentary created a cacophony that made concentration impossible. For the third time that hour, Grandma's voice cut through the noise. "The ice in my water has melted." It wasn't a request. It was never a request, just a passive-aggressive statement designed to pull Emma away from her work, her studies, her life. At 21, Emma had returned home for summer break, expecting to help her family while earning money and maintaining her grades. Instead, she found herself trapped in a house where everyone tiptoed around an increasingly demanding elderly woman, whose dementia had transformed her into someone none of them recognized. The morning routine had become a dreaded ritual. Grandma wouldn't emerge from her bedroom until noon, leaving behind soiled sheets that her stay-at-home father would silently change. The same father who had put his job search on hold because Grandma couldn't be left alone, despite her insistence that she was perfectly capable of taking care of herself. Once settled in her living room throne, Grandma would remain planted for 10 straight hours, remote control in one hand, phone in the other, never moving except to complain. The small chihuahua would whine pitifully by the door, ignored by the woman who claimed to love him but couldn't summon the energy to let him outside. Emma watched her father's shoulders sag a little more each day. The man who had once been vibrant and social now spent his days cooking, cleaning, and playing caregiver to a woman who showed no gratitude. His job application sat unfinished on the kitchen table, interrupted by demands for fresh ice water or complaints about the mail's delayed arrival. The emotional manipulation had become weaponized. When Emma discovered Grandma attempting to cut bread with a steak knife, her gentle correction was met with venom. "No one in this house would even care if I hurt myself." The guilt-inducing statements came daily. Threats about being better off left behind followed immediately by complaints about never going anywhere. Emma's attempts to maintain her own life became battles. Planning to visit her boyfriend triggered theatrical displays of concern. "We can just meet halfway, and I don't want you driving at night," despite Emma's years of safe driving experience. The hypocrisy was staggering. The same woman who claimed independence couldn't feed herself or her dog, yet felt entitled to control everyone else's movements. The house had become a prison. Emma's father couldn't pursue employment because Grandma needed constant supervision. Emma couldn't work effectively from home because of the interruptions and noise. Her brother, fresh from high school graduation, was already learning to avoid the living room where Grandma held court. Most heartbreaking was her mother's willful blindness. Working full-time to support the household, she would return home exhausted, seemingly oblivious to the toxic atmosphere that had consumed her family. She ignored the red flags, the manipulation, the way her husband's spirit was slowly being crushed under the weight of caregiving responsibilities he was never equipped to handle. Emma found herself calculating the cost of staying silent. Her father's career was stagnating. Her own education and work suffered from constant interruptions. The family dynamic had shifted from loving support to resentful obligation. They were all watching Grandma deteriorate while being powerless to provide the professional care she desperately needed. The breaking point came during another guilt-laden monologue about being unloved and forgotten. Emma realized they weren't helping Grandma by keeping her home. They were enabling her decline while sacrificing their own futures. Professional care could provide the medical attention, social interaction, and structured environment that their chaotic household couldn't offer. The weight of the decision pressed down on Emma's chest. Speaking up would mean confronting her mother, potentially causing family conflict, and admitting that love alone wasn't enough to solve this problem. But staying silent meant watching her family crumble while her grandmother continued to decline without proper care. Emma's fingers hovered over her phone, ready to text her mother about having a conversation when she got home from work. The words felt heavy with consequence, but the alternative, continuing this slow-motion family destruction, felt worse. What would you do in Emma's position? Have you ever faced the heartbreaking decision of whether to place a loved one in professional care? When does family loyalty cross the line into enabling harm? Share your thoughts below. Sometimes the most loving choice is the hardest one to make.